61. Now let's move on to rent proration, which is the final proration in this chapter. We are prorating the rent between the parties using the following data. Monthly rent is $600. Closing day is April 13th. The closing day belongs to the buyer. Let's do our proration here. And as always with prorations, the first thing we do is calculate the daily rent, or the daily tax, or the daily interest. What is the value per day? It's $600 divided by the number of days in the specific month we are dealing with. That's why we use 30 here. But if they had said May, I would have used 31. Watch out for this detail. It's 30 because April has 30 days. But if the closing had been in May, you would have to use 31. So $20 is the daily rent. Second step, let's picture it. April 1st to April 30th, and here's April 13th. We've established that the buyer gets this day as well. So, including the 13th, the day is for the buyer. This means the seller has 12 days and the buyer has 18 days. The seller has from the 1st through the 12th, that's 12 days. And the buyer gets the remaining portion to total the month's 30 days, which is 18 days. Excellent. Now, since we are prorating rent, we take the right-hand side. So, the third step is to multiply 20 times 18 for 18 days, and that comes out to $360. That is the amount the buyer receives. So, it is a credit to the buyer. And whatever is a credit to the buyer, the exact same amount is a debit to the seller. Always remember the number is equal. If you are giving $360 to the buyer, it's because you took that from the seller. The numbers are the same. The seller received the full $600 on the morning of April 1st, but they sold the house on the 13th. They cannot keep the complete April rent, because starting on April 13th, the new owner is responsible for maintenance, property taxes, and so forth. So, that portion of the month that the seller already collected must be handed over. That's why the answer is $360 credit to the buyer, no doubt about it. And it's also a $360 debit to the seller. You can see in all proration questions, guys, what you debit one person, you credit the other. That is an important detail. If you recognize just that, you can eliminate two of those answers right away. And if you knew clearly that you calculate the right side, guess what? You can also eliminate that other option, because $240 is not what you get when you multiply 18 days by $20. The correct answer is D. 62. A lot measures 765 feet by 800 feet. How many acres is the property? So let's multiply it. We have 765 feet times 800 feet, which gives us 612,000 square feet. And we divide this by 43,560 square feet, which is the size of 1 acre. That calculation gives me 14.049 acres. What is the correct answer? The answer is a little over 14 acres. And look how tricky the test writers are. They give you an option that says 14 acres exactly. But clearly, if there is one that says a little over 14 acres, that has to be it, because it is not 14. It's slightly more than 14. Next question, 63. A $5,000 loan is requested at a simple interest rate of 13% annually. What would be the payment of principal plus interest in 3 months? Here is how you solve this problem. You take $5,000 multiplied by 13%, which gives you $650 in annual interest. Then you take $650 and divide it by 12 months, which gives you, let's look at the calculation. It gives you $54.16 per month. Now, take $54.16 times 3 months, which equals $162.50 in interest. Finally, add the $5,000 principal. The answer is C. Be careful. There is an answer that only says $162.50, which is just the interest. Be careful with that. 64. Let's keep studying. If a property costs $165,000 and will be financed with a loan equivalent to 73% of the price, what is the down payment? So, let's put the price here, $165,000. And then we have the financing, which is 73%, and the down payment, which must be 27%. So, we need to multiply, find 27% of $165,000, and that is $44,550. Question 65. Prorate the interest between the parties and determine the credit to the buyer if the mortgage is $45,000. The interest rate is 11%, and the closing date is June 25th, which belongs to the seller. Let's see what is the only difference between this question and the last one. That the closing day is counted for the seller, and in the previous problem, the closing day was counted for the buyer. So, in the previous question, the seller had 24 days. In this one, the seller gets one more day, the closing day, which means they have 25 days. Therefore, the daily interest is still $13.56, but now it is multiplied by 25, and that gives us $339. Now let's go to the next question. A bank grants a loan for 80% of the sale price at an interest rate of 8%. The interest portion paid the first month is $768. Calculate the sale price. Let's look here. The first thing I have to do with this $768 is multiply it by 12 to get the annual interest, because that is the only number I can use to start working. 768 times 12 is 9,216. That is the annual interest. Second, if this is the annual interest, 9,216, and it equals 8%, how much is 100%? And there we will solve for x, which will give me the loan amount. So, $9,216 multiplied by 100 divided by 8. What happens? The loan amount is $115,200, but the loan is 80% of the sale price. So, we make the following relationship. $115,200 is 80%. Therefore, x is equal to $115,200 times 100 divided by 80. And there you get the answer, $144,000. It takes 2 simple calculations using the rule of 3 to solve this question. Question 67. What will be the interest paid for a $52,000 loan at 11% simple interest in a 360-day year, over 4 months and 27 days? Here, they are explicitly telling you to use a 360-day year. Use 360 days per year. Look, the first thing I have to do is calculate what 11% of $52,000 is. It's $5,720. This is the annual interest. And if I divide that by 360, I get the daily interest, $15.88 per day. Now, I have to calculate the interest accumulated over 1 year, plus 4 months, plus 27 days. I need to convert everything to days. How many days is 1 year according to this problem? 360. How many days are 4 months based on the 360-day year? That will be 120 days. So 120 plus 27. So that gives me 507 days. And now I multiply 507 days by $15.88. The result is $8,055.68. Letter C, 68. What will be the interest paid for a $1,230 loan at 8% simple interest in a 360-day year over 5 months and 3 days? Let's see. $1,230 times 8% gives us $98.40. This is the annual interest. Okay, I will divide that $98.40 by 360 to convert it to days. What do I get per day? 0.273. That is the daily interest. So I have 1 year plus 5 months plus 3 days. 5 months is 150 days, and 3 days. Adding all of that up, I get 513 days. 513 days multiplied by 0.273 gives me $140.049. That means option A. And with that, we say goodbye to Chapter 14, and we're moving into Chapter 15, which is actually Chapter 16. Chapter 16 covers 8 points on the exam. Question 69. Which appraisal approach would be given the most weight in the final decision by the appraiser when valuing a vacant lot? Anything that is vacant land is always valued using the sales comparison approach, or market data approach. Vacant land equals sales comparison. 70. The most probable price a property will bring in an open and competitive market is the most probable price is the market value. It's not that market value is the exact price, it's the most probable price. 71. The basic types of depreciation do not include, so which one is not included? Physical deterioration. That is a type of depreciation. Functional obsolescence. That is a type of depreciation. External obsolescence. That is a type of depreciation too. Therefore, the one that is not included is component depreciation. You must memorize the 3 types of depreciation, and there they are. The 3 types of depreciation are physical deterioration, functional obsolescence, and external obsolescence. 72. What is the monthly gross rent multiplier, GRM, for a house that sold for $269,500 and rents for $2,000 per month? You divide the price by the monthly rent. It's a formula, price divided by monthly rent, and that gives you the gross rent multiplier. The answer is B, 134.75. This is a very simple math question because it's just a division. 73. Next. When the capitalization rate decreases the property value, remember this relationship is inverse. When it decreases, the property value increases. It is inversely proportional. When the capitalization rate goes down, the property value goes up. Question 74 is a formula you must memorize. It asks, the capitalization rate is calculated by, this formula is found in answer C, dividing the net operating income by the property price. Dividing the net operating income by the property price. That's a key formula you need to learn. 75. The 3 appraisal approaches are based on which principle? Folks, it's based on the principle of substitution. The principle that underlies all 3 appraisal methods is the principle of substitution. 76. Broker Anibal is asked to appraise seller Carlos's property. The subject property has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a half-finished basement. Folks, this is the key to this question. It is the only question on all the exams that talks about a half-finished basement. Please remember this. If one bedroom is valued at $11,000, one bathroom at $2,500, and the basement at $6,000, what will be the value range for the subject property, considering the following comparables? So, for example, the subject has 3 bedrooms and 2 baths, with a half-finished basement. This comparable has 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, and a half-finished basement, and the other one has 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, and a half-finished basement. What we know about comparables and the sales comparison approach is that all adjustments are made to the comparables, and they are done inversely. For example, let's look at the comparable that has 4 bedrooms. It has 1 extra bedroom compared to the subject property, which only has 3. Therefore, you must subtract the value of 1 bedroom from this comparable. That leaves us with $75,000. Now, if I had chosen the other one that says 2 bedrooms, it would be missing a bedroom. So you would have to add the value of 1 bedroom to that comparable. Either way, you arrive at $75,000, and the answer is A, between $70,000 and $80,000. 77. Next. Of the different types of values, which value is associated with the sale of an insolvent business? The answer is liquidation value. An insolvent business means liquidation value. 78. A comparable property recently sold for $210,000. Compared to the subject property, the comparable property has superior construction materials $10,000 and a smaller lot $15,000. What is the adjusted sale price of the comparable property? Look, let's draw a little chart here. Let's put it like this. Comparable and subject property. The comparable has superior materials. That is a dollar difference of $10,000, but it has a smaller lot. So let's put less lot area, and that is a difference of $15,000. If the comparable has better features, the subject has worse features. If the comparable has less lot area, the subject has more lot area. The point is, all adjustments are made to the comparable. I cannot touch the subject property. I can only touch the comparable property. And whatever is better on the comparable, I subtract. Whatever is worse or less on the comparable, I add. So, how much did the comparable property sell for? $210,000. Look here. Subtract $10,000 for superior materials and add $15,000 for the smaller lot. And there is your answer, $215,000. That is the logic behind this. 79. A seller has a property that generates $30,000 in gross income per year and $12,000 in annual expenses. If the capitalization rate is 12%, what is the market value of this property? Well, the first thing I have to do here is find the net operating income, and the NOI is equal to the gross income minus the expenses. So you take $30,000 in gross income minus $12,000 in expenses, and you find the NOI, which is $18,000. They also give you the cap rate, which is 12%. With these two numbers, you can find the property price. How? Like this. The price is equal to net income divided by the capitalization rate. So looking here, replacing the numbers, I have net income of $18,000, capitalization rate 12%. But I cannot put 12, I have to put 0.12. Whenever a percentage, like the 12% here, is going to be used in a fraction, you must convert it to a decimal. I repeat, Whenever a percentage needs to be included in a formula, you must convert it to a decimal. So, when you divide this, what do you get? $150,000. Okay, welcome now to Chapter 17. Chapter 17 starts with Question 80. Assets found in business brokerage that are not typically found in real estate brokerage are goodwill and personal property. Exactly. When you sell a business, you sell the goodwill, you sell the personal property, furniture, equipment. But you do not sell those when you sell a house. So, that is the answer.